I just woke up, the sun is out, and I have to get to work soon, so we'll see how this goes. My name is Julia, and these are my general favorites for September. You may not know this about me, but I live in Orange County, and every weekend I go up to LA because, in my opinion, there's more to do up there, and that's where most of my social life is. But for the first time, my friends from LA drove down to see me in Orange County, not because of me though, it was because of a dog surf competition. If you've met me in person, you know, I love dogs a lot. I can't believe I've never heard of this before because this is like an annual thing in Huntington Beach. We get there. It's a bit cloudy that day, but regardless, it was really fun. So many pets. And overall, I have to say that this was like the weirdest event I've ever been to. It's kind of like enthralling to see a dog surf on a board. I don't see that often, and I think it's because these dogs are owned by like pro surfers who take their dogs out to surfing. But regardless, I had a great time. I've been really fortunate to find girls that are trying to get into skateboarding that are super outgoing. We kind of find different places around LA to skateboard. What we decided to do this time was go to Manhattan Beach. When I look back on it, Manhattan Beach is probably my favorite beach town in LA. And I have to say that the pavement in Manhattan Beach is like smooth as glass. So I think if you're a beginner and you also want to be around like a scenic view, you should definitely ride around there. And going from Manhattan to Hermosa was splendid. So, as for books, I have been trying to be more of a self learner, and these books have been helping me to do that. For instance, there's this one book called How to Skim Your Life. If you haven't heard of The Skim before, they are a daily newsletter focusing on current politics and current events all over the world. I think they have really good copywriters because the way that they break down information is so easy to digest. Like, this book is great because it goes over things related to, common sense stuff, but also current politics and um, things that we should all know as people, but maybe we don't have a good grasp on. Everyone's a different learner. For instance, I'm someone who needs to, I get lost in the details, so I need something that needs to help me see the whole big picture, and this book does that. And there's so many maps and graphs in the book that really breaks things down. And even at my job, I always have to draw things out or map things and understand where the flow is. So I really appreciate a book like this. Another book I've been reading is called Ikigai. It is based off of Japanese principles. Basically, my biggest takeaway from that book is, if you want to be fulfilled in life, it's not the materialistic things, but it's about your actions. It kind of promotes things that aren't so elusive, like happiness and self-esteem. It's more about being never being static. For instance, it always talks about always having maybe a secondary side hustle that you would enjoy. It talks about not really focusing on where you are in life or the certain prestige that you might want to attain, but it's about just being very present and making your tasks more about today rather than the future or reversing the past. Another thing that it really promotes is be exposed to as many types of people as you want because that's how you really learn and that's how you really grow more stimuli. So I'm not like the type of girl that is trying to aspire to be paleo, gluten free, vegan, whatever. I'm lactose intolerant, but I still even eat that. But there is a restaurant that I really like. It's called Monty's. And I never really felt motivated to try Monty's in K Town because I can assume that the line is crazy. But they just opened one in Echo Park. It's more mellow, and I really like it a lot. At stores, they sell the Beyond Burger, but they carry Impossible Burger, which is like the new vegan bloody meat. Um, these burgers kind of are on the saltier side, but I do have to admit they taste really good. And when it comes to elevated burgers, I think that, for instance, Burger Lords in Highland Park in Chinatown, they kind of aspire to be a more elevated In and Out, whereas Monty's kind of tastes like a more elevated Shake Shack. And I love my Shake Shack. I eat Shake Shack almost every weekend whenever I'm up in LA. But yeah, I really dig Monty's. I dig the aesthetic there. It has like a cool 80s punk vibe. And their milkshakes are pretty good. I'm also a sucker for milkshakes, besides, liking dogs a lot. And their milkshakes kind of remind me of the McFlurry, which I really loved as a kid. So it's nice to have that weird, like, synthetic but yummy tasting ice cream that happens to be vegan. Like I said, I'm no paleo person, but for like the past year, I've been trying to gain healthy weight. I'm a bit underweight, so I want to like bulk up in terms of like muscle, in terms of healthy curves, and I've been seeking out food that is more nutrient dense and very calorie dense. So what I decided to try was like these siete tortillas. They are really delicious. I don't really like anything gluten free. I feel like gluten free muffins and cookies taste like garbage, but this is really nice. It's very buttery tasting, it holds well, and it has like for two tortillas, it's like 200 calories, but you get 6 grams of protein. So it's something that I'm really happy of like incorporating in my life. And it's just such an easy snack. You just like, even when it was in the freezer, it thaws out really quickly. You just kind of put it on a high heat pan for 15 seconds on each side, add whatever you want in it, and it's perfect. So as for film and shows, Jack Quaid has been popping up like everywhere now. The first time I ever really got to see him act was in this movie Plus One. It's on Hulu. It has this one girl from Pen 15. Her name is Maya, and she is super funny. He is really great as well, and I think that as actors, they had really good chemistry on the camera. And I think that like it really, it really depicts modern dating, how it can be very stressful, and we get fixated on things, and it kind of plays with the idea of, can friends turn into lovers? Another show that also has Jack Quaid is The Boys. It's based off of a comic, and I think the comic in general is really ahead of its time. When you watch it, it makes you really think about like conspiracies that are happening in our politics, especially US government. Like, for instance, I don't think Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. No one thinks Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, but yeah, the show kind of plays on certain cover-ups, PR stints, and how that really shapes current politics. So aside from being like a cool action show, it's about, it's also a satire. It has allegory to it, and the cast is super charming. And finally, a show that I ended up binge watching was Ozark. Why did I not watch it before? I don't know. There's so many great shows out there, but I'm glad I did. Jason Bateman has been around for a long time. He's that, like, dry humor, very approachable, cute actor guy that is always in those comedy movies. But we have to remember, he was also on Little House on the Prairie. He can do drama if he wants to. Not only is he a great actor and really dynamic, he's also an awesome director. He has directed a lot of the episodes on that show. It's definitely Breaking Bad on steroids, because they just like have so many great characters, and you never know what's gonna happen to them. And I'm so happy that Julia Gardner won an Emmy for that show. She fucking deserves it. She's amazing. I love her southern accent. I don't know how to describe her, but like she just brings so much life to it, and I think it would be really different without her and her character Ruth. Okay, so I definitely have to go to work, and thanks for watching.